Retro.
Yeah.
Electro. Tech.
Oh yeah.
Hey, turn the lights back on. Wow. Retro electro tech. When real audio ruled the world.
Well, hello there once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Retro Ernest of Retro Electrotech. And on the bench we have a Fender AcoustaSonic 30. So this is a 30 watt amp, and I believe it was produced right about 2003-ish, early 2000s, so it's about 20 years old, maybe a little more. It's a solid state amp. And it came to me through a friend who wants me to give it a once over, check everything out, and see what needs to be done. Like right off the bat, I am going to replace the grill cloth, get it cleaned up, all that kind of stuff, as far as cosmetically. But other than that, as far as power up and putting a signal in it, we'll get to that in just a bit. But the backstory on this anyways is that it belonged to his fiance's son, who passed away within the last year or so, and they just want to get it looked over once again and spruced up a little bit, make sure it works, and just do what I need to do to get it working if it's not. So for what it is, I don't know a lot about the AcoustaSonic by Fender, but from what I understand, it's a pretty decent amp for what it is. A little solid state, 30 watt. I know it sounds nice clean, but I don't know much about it otherwise. But not a big deal. I'm sure that once I get it to where it needs to be, both sonically and cosmetically, it'll be a nice little amp to, at the very least, use as a practice amp in a room. And I know my friend wants to plug in and give it a go, so anyways, let me go ahead and get to looking at things, and we'll go from there. So of course, here we are around back, and let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit tighter. So you can see here the transformer is all, just kind of loose, just about dangling. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, so I just want to start prepping the cabinet for some cosmetic detailing, getting it all cleaned up. Again, get the new grill cloth put on. So I'm going to do that separately, off to the side. I'll be messing with that. I need to order the grill cloth and so forth. And then I'll start cleaning things up a little bit in preparation for, getting the chassis mounted back in. But yeah, first thing, get the chassis out. I want to make sure everything is safe as far as, for powering up and testing, because with the transformer just dangling like that, you never know what's going on the inside. So anyways, let me go ahead and get to that. Alright, so here we are looking into the innards, and as far as let me pound down just a little bit here. As far as the transformer goes, yeah, it was just loose, that's it. 3 of the nuts were off the bolts and rolling around inside the chassis here. So all the wiring associated with the transformer and all that looks to be intact. Everything seems to be okay. None of the insulation is damaged or cut or anything. Power supply section in here looks okay. All the wiring seems to be soldered in pretty good. Once I get the controls all situated as far as removing all of the knobs and so forth, and I probably will end up pulling the board out and just having a look at the underside, check solder joints, the usual stuff, and make sure everything looks okay there. I see a fuse. Let me go ahead and check it out. So let me get this out of here. So 1 amp at 250 volts, and the filament is open. The element is open. So we'll have to figure out why that is, try to determine what is causing that. maybe it just opened up, who knows, maybe the amp was being driven kind of hard, or who knows. But whenever a fuse opens, you have to assume that there's an underlying cause, so that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to find another 1 amp fuse here, and I'm going to try to safely power this up under heavy current limiting, and I was planning on doing that anyways. So I'll just start with that. I just want to see what this is going to do, if it's going to try to open up another fuse. In other words, if something is shorted out or whatever the case. All right, so I have the fuse substituted. I didn't have smaller fuse to replace the original, so I just clipped in a 1 amp fuse that I had on hand. When the time comes, I'll get another one, but otherwise I just have it clipped in. You got to be careful when you're doing that, so just be forewarned about wiring dangling around on your bench with line voltage on it. So just watch out. On that note of powering it up, I did so safely, of course, on the current limiter, and everything did just fine. Not a single hiccup. The bulb went bright really quick, went back down, as these little filters here came up to charge. It just went bright real quick, went down like it's supposed to do, and it stayed stable. Matter of fact, it dimmed all the way down. Nothing tried or is trying to draw heavy current, so there's no indications that there's any shorts or anything like that, anything trying to draw heavy current once again. So if everything holds stable there, that's good. Why that fuse opened, why the line fuse opened up, I'm not real sure yet. Sometimes they will do that, but I kind of think that maybe somebody was driving this, pushing it a little too hard, and the fuse opened up. So it could be that. If there is another underlying cause, then I'm sure I'll find out about it as I go into testing this thing in more detail, because I will as I go in a little bit more. I still have to do a full inspection. I did a cursory and just made sure that everything looked okay. Bulging caps, leaking caps, physically leaking, any components, resistors, whatever that look like they're overheated, charred. The board looks okay. Everything seems to be all right. So again, if everything holds up, then I'm sure that this thing is going to be okay. I got the transformer tightened up. That was the thing that had concerned me initially, because it was all loose. Why they lifted it off or unscrewed the nuts from the back, I'm not too sure about that, can't say. But again, everything is working. On that note, I have a 400 hertz tone fed in, and I have it entering the instrument channel here. Okay, so let me just turn it up real quick. So it's amplifying, and when I do bring up the volume, everything looks good. Everything's looking good. So nothing's trying to misbehave there. I will just mention in brief that all of the controls associated with this instrument channel here seem to be doing just fine. They're quiet. I'm not getting a bunch of static or intermittent behavior. They seem to influence the channel as they're supposed to. I haven't checked this other channel yet. That's coming next. I'll probably just do that off camera. This channel uses an XLR jack. It's designated as a mic channel. So anyways, once I'm able to clip in there, get a signal in there, I'll check that channel. If that's okay, then there's no need for me to come back and talk any more about the circuitry. If everything is doing what it's supposed to do, there's no problems. So like I said, I am going to test it for a while, because I want to make sure that the reason why the fuse opened up wasn't on account of any issues, any faulty components or intermittent components, something that's starting to go south. So we'll see. But again, if everything is stable, then that's probably going to be it for the circuitry. I will just clean some things out on the inside, Like I said, if all the controls seem to be okay and they're not noisy when I start checking this other channel, that's fine. These pots, by the way, are sealed pots. And let me see if I could change the camera view real quick. And as you see, there's 4 tabs on the back of these pots. So if you carefully bend these, you should be able to have access inside, if memory serves me well, with this type of pot here. The only other thing is obviously they're soldered to the board. So if you have a pot here that is acting up, that's staticky, intermittent, then you'll just have to desolder it from the board, bend these tabs, open it up, gain access, and do what you have to do. Now I'm not going to go through and just indiscriminately start pulling all of the potentiometers from the board and opening them up and going into that deep level of service, because like I said, other than the channel I haven't checked yet, these pots are all quiet, and if the other ones are too, then I think that we're good to go. And the reason why these pots typically last a little longer as far as not getting so staticky and intermittent as some of the others is because when they're sealed up like this, that does help, prevent dust and other foreign pieces of debris and crap working its way in. Also too, it helps with preventing the contacts in there from getting tarnished, like the wiper contact getting tarnished or otherwise oxidized if they're sealed up pretty good. So it helps anyways. It's not 100%, but it does help, as opposed to pots that have bigger openings and ports and all that. Easier to access and maintenance, yes, but again, stuff works its way in a lot easier, and there's more exposure to the environment, humidity and things like that. So that's it. That's all I'm going to mention about pots. I'm not going to get into a big old topic about that. But again, if these appear to be okay during testing, as I continue to test, because that's really all I'm going to do is just continue to test things out, make sure that this amp is behaving in a stable manner. Nothing's trying to, run away, short out. The fuse stays intact, doesn't open up again, with normal use, of course. And my inspection turns out okay as I go through and look at all the components, check the backside of the board. Everything looks good. If everything checks out, remains stable, then I'm just going to start moving towards getting this buttoned up. That's it. And I'll come back and do a part 2 probably, just to show the amp, put back together with the new grill cloth on and nice and cleaned up. I'll plug in, strum some chords. It'll be a short video, but I'll just do it for the record, just to show that this thing got, put back into service. And that's really about it. I think that this is obviously going to be just a short and easy one, but if something else goes wrong or something crops up, I will definitely do a part 2 on sussing out the actual problem. Yeah, this thing is going to be good to go, other than the cosmetic stuff I have to do. So that said, peace, love, music, and the vintage audio that brings it to your ears. Till next time, y'all take care.
This has been a Spinning Head production.